The Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN is being brought to you by Fab-Ball, home of hammer bowling balls and accessories. Available at the finest pro shops everywhere. By Lucite. For a tough, resilient finish, paint with Lucite, the thick skin that won't give in. By your local coast-to-coast Total Hardware and coast-to-coast home and auto stores. And by Domino's Pizza. Hot, fresh, delicious pan pizza. Domino's Pan Pizza. Nobody delivers better. And now let's preview tonight's top 5 finalists. Robin Romeo, the tour's leading money winner this season, will start from the bottom of the ladder in search of her 5th victory this year. While Nikki Giunulias, with 3 third-place finishes in 1989, will provide the opening opposition. Meanwhile, 13-time titleist Lorrie Nichols will begin from the middle of the stack, while 27-year-old Paula Drake of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, will be shooting for her first ever LPBT victory. And, of course, the hottest player on the national tour, Cheryl Daniels of Detroit, will try to win back-to-back championships, this time from the top seed position. And welcome, everyone, to spacious Inca Lanes in sunny Yuma, Arizona for the championship round finals of the $35,000 Hammer Western Open. Hi, everyone. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to Yuma, Arizona for the 9th and final LPBT stop on ESPN here this spring. It's been a marvelous spring, some great bowling, and speaking of outstanding play, last night my partner ended up in 7th position, nearly made the telecast, but let's talk about CD. No, not certificates of deposit, but a player who has been bowling just like putting money in the bank, Cheryl Daniels.
Well, Denny, you know, Cheryl Daniels for so long had the physical game. She finally has now the mental game, and also for so long she didn't think she could win. Now I don't think she thinks she can lose.
All right, the last 2 championships that she has already claimed here in the past 6 weeks have come from the bottom of the ladder. That means she's won 4 games on both occasions. Tonight, however, she will start from the top seed position. That's a whole different ball game.
Well, it really is a different ball game. You know, once you get a couple games under your belt coming up the ladder, it's a lot easier to bowl. You see how the breaks are going if they're going your way. If she comes out and she gets the breaks early, I think she can win. If she doesn't, I'm not sure.
All right, the story once again this week, lane conditions, and this week at Inca Lanes in Yuma, we're bowling on synthetics. The scores have been fairly high, and what do you think is going to happen tonight?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of high scores and a lot of close matches. Synthetics are notoriously high scoring, and the players this week, if they made the adjustments quickly going from pair to pair, they were able to line up and throw a lot of strikes.
Well, the composite average of our 5 television finalists here this week on the championship round pair was 216, so I'm sure we're going to see some outstanding bowling. Coming up, match number 1 on ESPN between Robin. Already she is the leading money winner, trying to add a little bit more here this evening.
Well, Robin's going to have a difficult time, really, coming up through the field we have tonight, Denny.
Starts off and hits the pocket with the opening shot, a little bit of a half-10, and I know that you observed the championship round pair here, 33 and 34, when they were practicing, and you said they are hooking a lot more than they did throughout the week.
Well, this particular pair was very, very tight compared to the rest of the house, and they made the adjustments in the lane conditioning. They did oil 32 feet and buff down to 38 feet. So I don't understand really why they're hooking as much as they are. I think they just put less conditioner out.
So Robin spares up in the first. Nikki Giunulias, 29 years of age, from Vallejo, California, and she told me already tonight, Denny, I've finished 3 times in 3rd place. Anywhere but there tonight has got to be better.
Anywhere higher than there tonight has got to be better.
Yeah, good point. Gives it plenty of room. Nikki likes to hook the ball, and boy, it just exploded at the top.
Nikki really made a big move. She was in 23rd spot coming into the match play. We have a nice look at her approach. 4 steps, deliberate push away, very low, head very level, and as she comes through the ball, great knee bend and extension. A very powerful player, one of the, probably along with Lisa Wagner, the most powerful players on the tour.
And she's looking to start quickly. Good shot there. I'm afraid we're going to see some 4s, maybe even some 4-9s tonight, the way that ball's reacting in the last 15 feet.
That's right, Denny. The last 15 feet, the back ends, as we refer to it, were moving quite sharply all week, and it made for some real nice light hits to carry for you, but you did see quite a few 4 pins, 4 9s, also a lot of ring and 10s.
Let me pose a quick question to you. When you do have the back ends hooking like that and you know the ball's going to come back, do you line up and try and throw it a little lighter in the pocket than you would if you didn't feel like you had that?
Well, I think you know that you can throw it right and it's going to come back, and I think that's where you might have the tendency just to hit lighter. No, you always try to go flush, but that's why we see Cheryl Daniels, Nikki on the show this evening. They like to swing the ball, and they really had a good time swinging it this week.
Right through the nose it goes on the right-hand lane for Robin Romeo, who leaves a 6-pin.
Nice look at Robin's game. 5-step approach. Very low push away. As you can see here, she's coming through her sliding step. Once again, the knee bend. And actually cuts off her follow-through, but with almost a bent elbow. However, very, very consistent player, obviously, by her performance here this year.
Well, she's already won at Canoga Park, San Diego, the Fairlanes Capital Classic, and, of course, the Seagram's Coolers U.S. Open. A phenomenal year thus far, and she's #1 in average, #1 in money, and #1 in competitive points.
However, she has never won from the #5 position. She's made it up to that #2 spot twice.
And this will present some problems here. The 10-pin wiggles, but it'll stand.
Actually, with the back ends moving, this spare is actually pretty makeable. You can see here she set the ball pretty short. You cannot go direct towards the pocket on this pair of lanes tonight with the back ends moving the way they are. Trying to go right in between them.
Well, she did, but she left the 9-pin. So an open in the 3rd frame for Robin Romeo, and Nikki Giunulias steps up with a 15-pin advantage. And you love to be sitting on the bench while your opponent opens up.
You do, especially Nikki feeling very comfortable. Pretty much the same ball she's used throughout the match play. And she's just sending the ball right, and it's coming roaring back.
Excellent shot there on the right-hand lane, so she's 2 for 2 on lane 34.
Nikki sat out last week due to a wrist injury, and she's really back in top form here this week, but she's looking forward to taking some time off here shortly. As you can see, her last shot there, just flush in the pocket, and her reaction.
Trying to double up now and really take advantage of the open in the 3rd frame by Robin Romeo. She's averaged better than 222 in the championship round here in '89, so she has bowled very well, but she's yet to win this year. See if she makes the right adjustment. Oh, boy, what a dandy of a shot there. So Giunulias jumps all over the open, and this is what she's hoping for, a first-place check worth $7,000. Back with more of the Hammer Western Open right after this.
Car maintenance driving you crazy?
Split left by Robin Romeo, and she was unable to convert. Comes charging back, a little more speed, and oh my, the 2-pin, the last to leave, and a sigh of relief for Robin Romeo.
Definitely a break there for Robin as her light hit carries the 2-pin.
I don't even know if you could consider that one a light hit, could you? Well, she went with a little more speed on the right-hand lane, left the 5-7, and Nikki Giunulias, who leads by 37, could just storm out and pretty much take over the match. And the 10-pin goes, so it's 3 in a row for Nikki G.
A little tap there by the 6-pin. Finally did its job, a little late, but nevertheless, it was done.
You know, you mentioned that fact that she had a problem with her hand. She developed a little tendonitis in the palm of her hand and had to withdraw from the Queens. And then, of course, last week did not even bowl in Denver. And, well, you see no effects as far as the strike is concerned, but she really does have a sore hand. She's got the pins dancing, but this time the 7-pin stands.
That was almost a bad break there for Nikki with the 7-10 split standing there. The head pin came off the sidewall, ended up taking out the 10.
You know, it's amazing if you chart her finishes this year and the way that she's bowled in her events. It seems like the final round of match play, she's always able to rise to the occasion like a great stretch runner. You know what I mean?
She really made her move there in the second round of match play. She went from 10th up to 4th, and then she just stayed steady last night. I was trying to catch her the whole time, and she was just pounding out the 230, 240 games, and she was tough to catch when you're doing that.
Robin working on a strike in the 5th and really needs to get something started here. A little more speed, gives it some room, and not quite to be here this evening for Robin Romeo, who leads the soft 7.
Robin actually making it to the championship round with only 11 wins and 13 losses, unlike Nikki, who won 18 matches and 6 losses. So Robin really had some good total pinfall throughout the week.
There you saw some terrific numbers. She is the leading money winner on the LPBT Tour with earnings in excess of $79,000 already here this year. And if you were a betting lady, would you think that maybe she's going to crack Lisa Wagner's all-time record?
I think she has a great chance to do it with 13 events left, you bet.
This time she leaves the washout, and it's amazing to me, Leila, this pair looks so easy for Nikki and so difficult for Robin.
Well, that just goes to show you how different these players are playing the lanes, how different their games are. Robin does not cross as many boards as Nikki, therefore she tries to go straight up, her ball hooks. She tries to move in and hits the oil, the ball slides. So she's not able to hit the oil and get it out to that dry and have it come rearing back for her.
She wraps the head pin right around the 10. So a tough break for Robin Romeo, who is struggling on to make the 10 pin and now leads by 59 pins. Pretty comfortable. And this is what I was chatting about just before we went to break. I mentioned that Robin had won $79,000, but of course she's guaranteed at least $1,500. So this would be the minimum for her through 13 events, $80,645. And that looks like Leila Wagner's balance sheet at the end of the year. And you have to be an accountant to read those kind of numbers.
Not mine, unfortunately, Denny.
Right back at him goes Nikki G, a little high, and leaves the 4-pin. Second time she's done that on the left-hand lane.
Well, she, made a good shot, and it just could be a minor speed adjustment there, maybe just a little slower, didn't quite cross that extra board before the ball made the break back. So, when you're leaving 4 pins and 10 pins like Nikki's doing there, I don't think she needs to make too many adjustments.
And so a spare up in the 9th. Possible 237 if Nikki would strike out now if you're Robin Romeo, and you take it all the way off the sheet from the 8th frame, 189. Robin's such a competitor. All she wants to do is throw a couple of strikes, and she's got a little wry smile for all of us after that ends.
Well, Robin's just a really great player, and she's got a superb attitude, and I think that smile is really, just shows of her character. She knows how things have been going for her this year, and I think she's just, thankful to be here on the show and at least come back and throw a few strikes. Save face, as we say. Moved out a little bit, it looks like, on the lane.
Trying to play him a little bit differently, and as I chatted with her just prior to going on the air, she said, Denny, I'm in a quandary. I've got a decent shot in. I'd feel more comfortable playing out, but I have to throw the ball firm when I'm out, because if I don't, it's going to hook early on me, and that's an uncomfortable feeling when you're not sure where you want to play the lanes.
That's exactly right, and those 10 frames once again go by very, very quickly, and especially when you're bowling against a player like Nikki Giunulias, who is very lined up.
Who's just doing nothing but whacking the pocket with every shot. Yeah, you're right. Well, this one, for all intents and purposes, now becomes practice in the 9th and the 10th for Nikki G. In case you've just joined us, Lorrie Nichols qualified number 3, Paula Drake number 2, and the top seed Cheryl Daniels. So plenty of outstanding bowling LPBT-wise here on ESPN. Yet to come. Plenty of room, and it looks like the oil's starting to carry down a little bit because that ball didn't react quite as well.
Well, Nikki's also kind of smiling there a little bit. I don't feel that she threw that shot as well as she would have liked to. She did not get the lift on the ball, and without that lift, the ball just hits that lane conditioner and gets into a slide. Want to make sure you get the thumb out and then have the fingers rotate the ball. Switching balls for her spare conversions, trying to go to a harder surfaced bowling ball and go a little bit more direct.
How do you rate her, Leila, as a spare shooter on the national tour?
Well, Nikki actually hooks into more of her spares. She's definitely one of the best spare shooters, but I've seen her miss a few easy spares, as you might say, in some tough situations because she does hook towards the 7-pin and does hook by the 10-pin versus like Robin Romeo, who tries to back it up to the 10.
Possible 225 game. She makes the adjustment and strikes on 33, but she better move a little bit further to the left or go with a little more speed, huh?
Yes, definitely let up on her speed there, set the ball short, came rearing up, as you might say. That's one key thing that I found, especially last night, Denny, is you really needed to get the ball long through the front part of the lane. If you set it short, it would hook on you.
So you need to really project it, maybe even look a little further down the lane than the arrows to try and make yourself throw it further down the lane? Sure.
A lot of professionals change their target area. If they want the ball to go longer, they'll look 2 foot past the arrows. If they want to set it shorter, get into a roll a little quicker, they look a little forward.
Definitely, she moved a little left on that shot and caught a little oil. So a possible 225 for Nikki G, who has, well, she's accomplished a first here this evening, Leila Wagner. She has never beaten Robin until this moment, and so she's got to feel pretty good about beating the top player on the tour right now.
Well, that's right. In the 2 matches they previously had on television, Robin beat her twice, so.
Beat her in overtime. The last trip out. That's really tough, right?
That's right.
Trying to finish things up and crosses over again, and when it's your night, it's your night. Nikki with a big smile and a 225 game to open things up here in the Hammer Western Open. Now for Robin, and I've got to believe that she is exhausted too mentally after 9 grueling weeks and having the kind of year that she had. She's probably ready to head back home to California and get a little rest.
Oh, I think so. A lot of the players are already on their way home, if not home already. And Robin's just had a very successful swing here these 9 weeks, and also the first 4 tournaments out in the year, she just came out strong.
Well, she's already won 4 times here in 1989. Certainly the most dominating player this season. And, it'll be interesting to see if she can keep it going. Oh, my. A lapse of concentration. So you won't see it very often. 225 to 147. But for Robin Romeo, it's still been an outstanding week. Coming up next, Lorrie Nichols and Nikki Giunulias on ESPN.
As they compete in championship round action. ESPN begins the season with live coverage of the Showboat Senior Invitational. Dick Weber tries for an unprecedented 4th consecutive win, but a top field of competitors will try to stop him. Live Wednesday, June 14th on ESPN.
7 strikes for a solid 225 game. Easy win in game number 1 for Nikki Giunulias.
Well, it really was. She was pretty much lined up the whole way. Robin Romeo really struggled. Never could find a line to the pocket.
Lorrie Nichols, number 3 seed, currently finishing up her practice shots on the championship round pair. And, of course, just a couple of moments ago, you saw that PBA promo, the PBA Tour, coming up on ESPN here in just a couple of weeks. We'll be out in Las Vegas for the seniors. Mike Durbin and I will be brushing up, and 12 weeks in a row, the PBA Tour. All right, let's look at other finishes. Uh-oh, those Wagner sisters, 6th and 7th.
Now, don't confuse everybody. You know we're not sisters.
Jeannie Maiden with a solid 8th place finish. Renee Fleming. Boy, this was a heck of a finals this week.
Sure, and Sharon Owen Todd right back up there.
Donna Adamick in 17th position. Mary Martha Chernelia, number 20. Linda McPherson, 21. And well, that was a tough finals this week to try and come up with any wins. And this lady here went 17 and 7 in match play. And against that kind of a field, that's not easy to do. Little re-rack here on the opening shot. projection and a ringing 10.
Well, coming off of 2 Brooklyn shots there on lane 33, she definitely projected that one better. And once again, that ringing 10 where the ball coming in just a little behind the head pin throws the 6 around the 10.
Spare up in the first, and Nikki has improved her match play record in the championship round of 25 and 30. I think that 26 and 33 overall. And boy, she's got a tough customer right here in Lorrie Nichols.
Well, I think Lorrie is really coming back into her game right now. Last week she struggled a little bit on the show. She didn't feel real confident. It was the first show she had made in quite some time, since really the beginning of the year. And you know, now it's always easier the second time around.
Well, she had a solid week this week. She was pretty much in the finals, in the show the whole week, you know, just kind of grinding it out and getting her shot together. But looked like she kind of yanked the opening offering there, leaving the 3-6-9, goes cross lane for it and makes it easily.
Well, Lorrie qualified at 10th, Denny, into match play, and then she made a move the first night of match play into 4th, and then stayed in 3rd for the next 2 rounds. Another player that was hard to catch.
And Lorrie was tied for the lead after the opening round, so she got off to a quick start. I think your assessment was correct there, in that last week she, you know, it's like anything else. I don't care how good you are, how many times you've been there, until you get back and get that feel. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. Good shot there, a little sidestep by Mrs. Nichols, and she strikes easily. That
was a really great shot there by Lorrie. A lot of ball speed. It really projected it well. Looked real confident on that shot, and I think that's the key for her game. Not much knee bend by Lorrie, but one of the steadiest players of all time.
Very quick player as opposed now to a very deliberate player in Nikki Giunulias. Well, is it my imagination, or has the oil finally started to carry down? Doesn't look like she has the same back-end reaction as she did in the first game.
Well, that's right, Denny. As the bowlers bowl on the lanes, the conditioner will carry down a little bit, causing a little less back end. Now she needs to move a little bit right, and she could run into trouble there where it snaps a little too hard on her.
All right, now do you move your feet right or your target right?
Well, in this case, she needs to move her feet right.
But she's got the break point at this stage, right?
She has the break point.
So a spare up in the second for Nikki G. Number 2 seed, Paula Drake. She is waiting in the wings right now. And the number 1 seed, we'll find out if Cheryl Daniels can perform the magic act 2 weeks in a row.
And you can take a look at just how Nikki's been doing this evening on lane 33. She's actually struck a little more often than 34.
Pretty close. Last week, real disparity between lanes as she leaves another soft 10, this time on the left-hand lane.
Now, her first shot on lane 33, she left that ring in 10, so she either opted to come in a little flatter, which she did, and left herself with the flat 10. Nikki really coming off to a good start in her pro career. In 1979, her first year out on tour, she was named Rookie of the Year. And in 1982, the Bowling Writers Association of America Bowler of the Year. So it's nice when you get off to a good start like that in your career.
Well, it's been 2 years now since she won a national title. We were talking about that before the telecast this evening, and she said, I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to win. I want to bowl well, but, you know, in the back of her mind, she's thinking, hey, it's been 2 years. I got to get back into the winner's circle.
Well, she makes so many telecasts, and I think she's pretty glad to be there, and feels that she knows when her time's coming. Like you actually, every hurdle you get to, you just set another goal. She was losing so many matches on TV earlier, and boom, she finally won.
Lorrie Nichols having a good week against Nikki in match play. Of course, it's completely different once you get to the championship round.
Boy, that's a coincidence. 246 to 225 and 245 to 226. Ooh.
Well, she knew the moment it left her hand that the 2-pin might get chipped right off the 5, and that's exactly what transpired. So Lorrie Nichols with an open in the 3rd.
Really expecting this to happen when the back ends are moving. She wanted to get the ball over, And unfortunately, it just snapped right at the last minute.
Well, she comes right back and strikes in the fourth. So 33 has been a good lane for Lorrie Nichols, but she trails by 10 here in game number 2. Don't forget, the PBA Summer Tour starts Wednesday, June 14th. And we're back live in the fourth frame. Nikki Giunulias nearly leaving the 4-9. The 4 tripped out. She spared up the 9.
After leaving the 2-pin in the second frame on lane 34, she actually made an adjustment by trying to hit the dry a little bit quicker, and what happened is the ball hooked up a little too hard and too quick.
Keeping the speed up, and this time a flush strike on the left-hand lane. Her first strike of match number 2.
A lot of speed if you're going to get the ball out there in the dry area, and that's exactly what she did. Really zinged that one out there with a lot of speed, and it held the line.
Back live now with Lorrie Nichols through the nose, and oh, that could be the break that gets things started. That's a double.
Well, that's a big break right there for Lorrie, especially on lane 34. It doesn't look like she's really got that lane down, and to catch a double early in the match, and we always see how those breaks go. As you can see here, just dead solid on the head pin. Watch that 3-pin. It comes down and knocks the 6 and the 10 out. So Lorrie looking for a turkey.
She's taken over the lead in the match, never wastes any time, and this time she explodes the pocket on 33, and she leads by 11.
Lorrie definitely getting a little more pumped up now. And Nikki checking out the rack, making sure all the pins are on spot. And they look like they're all on spot.
If you don't get out of the way of that bowling ball, you could get hurt. A little different angle this week from director Kent Sammel, as there's a double in the 6 now for Nikki G.
Just a super shot right here, answering back with her own double.
Well, don't you love it when a couple of pros get locked up in a tough match?
Taking her time.
Key shot for Nikki G, and goes right past the pocket.
Well, really trying to project the ball with a lot of speed. Maybe caught the inside of the lane a little too long before it tried to make its break back.
We've already seen Lorrie take the 2 off the 5 a little earlier. That happened in the 3rd.
You can see where Nikki hasn't beaten Lorrie on television in her 3 attempts.
And that's the way you cover up the 2-5 in the 7th. So a very close match. 3 pins. Well, he's going to be...
Lorrie recently inducted into the WIBC Hall of Fame. Big career accomplishment there. She is just locked in on lane 33. I think she'd rather play there all night. And one thing, Danny, Lorrie is going to finish on lane 33. As you can see here, just flush. She's playing a little more direct. Just a little break at the back end. She's an emotional player. She'll give you a reaction.
It's been a while since she's been in the hunt for a title, and she also has been 2 years without a victory, the last one coming in '87 in Rockford, so she's hungry for a championship win. Meanwhile, Nikki G throws the best shot of the night and gets the worst break of the evening and leaves the solid 7.
Oh, my.
Look at the disappointment on her face. You just don't throw it any better. She labeled the pocket with that shot.
Too good, actually, Denny. This ball, it came off her hand so clean. just knew that it was coming back, and it was, and that head pin just went off the wall, went around, the 4-pin went back. It's supposed to take out that 7, and it just didn't do it.
Well, that's a brutal break for Nikki Giunulias, because if she strikes there in the 8th, she has a possible 224 game.
As you can see a look at the scoreboard right there. That strike would have kept things very, very tight. At this point, Lorrie Nichols cannot lose the match. She can get up and shut Nikki out. So Nikki looking for the foundation strike right here in the 9th frame.
Actually, she could have shot 235 if she strikes there and goes off the sheet. So, boy, what a turnaround that was. Right back at him, though, realizing that there is still some bowling left to go. So she strikes in the 9th. She could shoot 224.
Now, Lorrie Nichols, the opposite type of player, will not take any time here. Just gets up and gets the job done.
That's been her tough lane. Hits the pocket. Doesn't get enough help to get the 10 out.
Looking to carry that light 10 there. Lane 34, she went high a couple times. We saw her leave a light 7 last time, and now the flat 10. So looking to spare it up. Nikki can still win the match.
Yeah, best Lorrie could do if she would spare and strike out would be 217. Boy, this one's been back and forth, back and forth. Winner of this game takes on Paula Drake. And, of course, the top seed is Cheryl Daniels.
The ladies haven't let me down. I vied for close matches here. Now Lorrie looking for a double. She can shoot 217. Nikki Giunulias has a possible 224.
Well, the interesting thing is if she just gets count in the 10th frame, Lorrie Nichols is going to force Nikki to at least throw the first strike. Oh, she threw that one a little too hard and got it way out on the lane and paid the price for it.
Lorrie really not happy with that shot, especially since she has hit lane 33 every time. A little too much speed, like you said. The ball just skids too long, doesn't make the break back. She needs to pick this up and strike, and she will force Nikki to strike.
You know, it almost looked like she just got too juiced up for that shot. She just hit it so hard that it didn't react the way that she wanted to. Well, the interesting thing now is if she gets 9, it's 204. We have a possibility of a tie. Strike, and she forces Nikki to strike to win. Oh, my. Well, 204 for Lorrie Nichols, but I think if you asked her right now, are you disappointed, she'd say, heck yes, I had a very good shot, just didn't quite get it done in the 9th and the 10th.
Much better game than last week. However, she knows she made a lot better shots. So now it's up to Nikki Giunulias right here. A strike wins it. A spare strike ties it.
It out and leaves the 7-pin. And look at Lorrie. Oh, she says, wait a minute, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
That was
a spare and a strike, and we have a tie. A spare and anything other than that, Lorrie's a winner.
Boy, was that a sigh of relief from Lorrie. Nikki really sent this ball out to the right, Denny. I wasn't sure it was going to make it back, and it did. However, the 5-pin just blows almost to the 7. Didn't quite make it.
Job at hand now is to convert the 7 and throw the strike. I loved her shot, though, Leala. She trusted it through a good, firm shot, and that's what you've got to do in that situation.
You're right. You must trust it. You've got a better chance at carrying those lights hits than you do going through the nose.
So Nikki Giunulias, who defeated Robin Romeo in the opening game, right now is right on the razor's edge. A strike, and we go into sudden death. Anything less than that, she's done for the evening.
Shot, and we're not done here in game number 2.
That was an incredible shot there, Denny. The 5 pin behind the 7. The head pin came off the wall and got the 4. See, Lorrie's reaction here is she does not want to look, and she looks up just at the last minute.
Then she looks for Fran Wolf, our national tournament director, to determine who starts first in the roll-off. Okay, it's a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. Sudden death. Trying to gain the upper hand right through the nose and leaves the baby split.
Lane 33, we saw Nikki go Brooklyn in the 10th frame against Robin. Looks like she sets it short, doesn't project it out there. It hooks. Looking to convert the 310, try to put the ball right between them. We can see the difference from lane 34 here. See how far out the ball goes. No, only went out to about the 12th board and then made it back. The other balls are going almost out to the 9th, 10th board.
Oh, my. Tough break there. Excellent shot. Looked like she was going to get the ricochet, but it opened. Now, Lorrie Nichols, the veteran that she is, she'll probably jump all over this one, but she's throwing the ball in the lane that she didn't particularly care for, lane 34. Little shaker and leaves the 7.
Looking for the light hit. At least once again, she's trusting the ball on lane 34.
Keep in mind, it's only a 9th and 10th frame, so if she spares and strikes out, she has 50, and she would shut Nikki out because the best Nikki could do would be 39.
And once again, Lorrie finishing on lane 33, her good lane.
Paula Drake standing by, waiting in the wings, and she was all set to bowl, and she had to kind of slam on the brakes because of the overtime, and she's ready to go, but she's going to have to wait here as Lorrie spares up in the 9th.
Lorrie actually taking a little more time there.
Yeah, that's not necessarily what she usually does. She's usually a blur up there.
Shot by Lorrie on lane 33, and the ball just breaks hard at the last minute. Nikki wiping her brow. Really a superb shot. A bad break here. Watch the ball just break right hard in the pocket. And 4-9. The ball is supposed to take out that 9 pin.
Can't give up now, though. If she spares this and strikes, she could shoot 38. Gonna give it a run. Oh, just a whisker as she flies by the 4. So now it's a total of 26 for Lorrie Nichols, and a spare and 8 would give Nikki G 27. That's enough to move on.
Husband Terry sitting on the edge of his seat.
Not anymore, he's not. She got a reprieve, hit the pocket, and left the soft 10. Lorrie wondering what will happen next.
You know, Denny, if Lorrie would have at least taken one of the pins here, Nikki, a spare and 9 would have been another tie, would have been a lot easier to go for the count there. However, we know Lorrie was probably trying for that split, but as she sits down and looks at it now, she's probably saying to herself, if I would have got one pin, would have changed the whole story.
Cross lane she goes. Oh, very solid shot, taking out the 10. Now 8 pins, and she'll advance to take on Paula Drake. 7. We reload 6. I don't even want to think about it.
I think her chances on 8 pins here are pretty good, Denny.
Me too. She hadn't missed the pocket, I think, but once on 34 the whole evening. Boy, this has been a real grind type of a match, huh? This is what you're supposed to have for the title, not for game number 2.
Shows you what's coming up.
Gives it plenty of room, and that's more than enough for Nikki G. So she wins the sudden death, 29-26, and she'll move on now to take on Paula Drake of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, here in the semifinal game. An opportunity to win the match. Oh my goodness, the 3.697.
That ball turning its left blinker on as it entered the pocket there. Nikki looking to win this match to better her third place finishes that she's had previously this year. Watch the ball here. Last 5 feet. Left turn.
Not even close. I wonder if she just slowed down perhaps during that commercial break. Sometimes that happens.
Looking to slide the 3 pin over into the 7. She'll want to hit right of it. Giving it a run. Had the right idea.
You know, you can almost shoot that thing like you're trying to make the baby split.
Exactly.
Couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, mentally, that's a better picture, I think, don't you?
That's
But
right.
she opens up in the first, and normally she has waited for her opponent to make the first mistake. But let's see how Paula Drake of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, can take early advantage.
Paula starting out 1989 very, very well. She made 3 of the 4 telecast earlier in the year. Chance to look at her game. Starts the ball very low. 5-step approach as she comes into her slide. Not much of a backswing, not much of a knee bend, but she does get the job done. One of the more powerful players. Her toe ends up pointing off to the right as she finishes up. Has a record high game of 299 on television, which unfortunately I have to admit that I was the underdog on that game.
Well, you got a nice view of that game because you were bowling her in DeSoto, Texas, right?
That's right. I had the best view of that game.
Yeah, but what most people don't realize is, didn't you shoot like 250?
Yes.
Yeah.
We both had the first 8.
Right.
And I choked first, I think.
Well, you hate to admit it, but sometimes you have to.
That's right. Paula was named the 87 Rookie of the Year. And she has 2 little girls, Lisa and Laura, that are at home watching Mom bowl.
Yeah, and right now they're probably disappointed because she leaves the washout. First shot went dead left on 34, then she gets it out on 33, and she's not a happy camper at this point.
Well, I think Paula's objective is really trying to get the ball out a little farther to the right. In her previous times on television, she says, you know, I can't loosen up. I just keep pulling the ball. So I think one step at a time here, and unfortunately she did get that one out to the right, a lot of speed, and it just didn't make it back. But a great conversion, and she spares the 1-2-10.
Well, you can leave the washout if you can make it, right?
That's right. How many times you see this head pin wrap around the 10? Well, not in this case, as she just covers it perfectly. Boom.
That's what kills me about that shot. Robin did the same thing in game number 1. That head pin went right around the 10.
That's really aggravating when that happens.
Pull your hair out when that happens. Trailing by 9, second frame, semifinal game, and this one ends up in a disaster, the big 4.
Nikki once again letting up on that ball speed. With as much as she hooks the ball, she needs to keep the ball projected way to the right, but she needs to keep the speed up. If she hits that dry area quick or slow, the ball comes just turning back too hard and right through the heart of the pins.
Takes the count. So it's open for Nikki G, who has 16 through 2 frames, and she's struggling.
I'd like to talk to our producer, George Smith, and see about getting a radar gun and actually measuring the ball speed here when the girls bowl. I think that would be
It's no good when those eyes stare back at you in the first and the second.
donuts.
Yep, too many of them. Waving for the Brooklyn, and she gets it. So Nikki Giunulias is taking anything she can get at this point.
You know, when you start waving the ball, at least get on that other side. She knows this ball's going to come in high, and so she's going to wave it all the way over. And the head pin came off the wall there. Tripped the 610.
And crossing over is Paula Drake as the 5-pin wiggles momentarily, but not enough.
A pin has to tilt at 9 degrees before it can fall over, Denny, and I think that one was at 8 3/4 because that pin was really tilting.
Well, you know, the bottoms are nice and flat when that happens, right?
Watch this. That head pin.
Yeah.
Came off, just nudged the bottom of it. Whoa.
Well, she makes the adjustment and finally hits the 5-pin flush. I have a feeling her next shot on 34 will hit the pocket.
She's gone high on 34 twice, and she left the washout on lane 33. So she's making adjustments from lane to lane, but unfortunately, she needs to make them for the same lane.
Best finish in 1989, 3rd in Canoga Park. So you're right, she's been fairly steady, but she hasn't been able to really get the job done. Well, a little high this time on the left-hand lane, leaves the 6-pin, and this one could come down to whoever is able to assemble the double somewhere along the way.
Wanting to at least stay intact with the spare conversions at this point, because Nikki, with 2 holes, Paula just needs to stay clean until she can get something going.
Of course, as tough as they are right now, an all-spare game might get you to the championship. So we'll take a break here, midway through the semifinal game. And
moving in on this shot, Denny, and getting the ball to break much later than when she went through the nose.
so she doubles, now trails by 9. If she strikes here, she takes back over the lead.
The shot we saw her throw in the first game against Robin. Really needing to trust the ball out to the right, but with all the speed, and I think that's where Nikki's really making the mistake, is she's just not getting the ball far enough to the right before it comes back.
Well, trying to hit the pocket for the first time on 34 is Paula Drake, who gets the cave in and leaves the 4.
A real good break there. Paula had 4 pins left standing and to end up with only 1. She's playing a definitely different type of line. They do have very different type of games. However, Paula's trying to play out around the 6 board, going very direct at them. And she looks very lost here, as you can see. Had been doing all the work there.
Of course, you can say that because you're her doubles partner, right?
That's right.
She really does have a lot of fun when she bowls. You have to see her in person to enjoy her. She reacts to every shot and just loves to compete. And when it's going well, she's fine. And when it's not going well, she also has the attitude of, hey, it's not the end of the world. I'm doing the best I can.
Really gets the crowd behind her everywhere we go. I always joke around with her and say, gee, Paula, where do you get all these fans from?
Right back at him. A little better offering there, at least momentarily, and that is not what you want to leave.
What's happening to Paula here is actually a bowler's nightmare. On lane 34, she's trying to play that outside line, and the back end didn't take it in, went a little too long, a little too straight. Lane 33, she points it up just a little bit, and the ball hooks on her.
Yeah, you're right. That's a tough situation. Gonna give this one a run for the money. Oh, my goodness. And there's
a smile for Paula Drake.
I think she was growling at him earlier when she left it, and a big smile as she can't believe she picked this up. She gave it the run. The ball escaped. Watch the 6-pin. You bet.
Okay, well, let's see what happens momentum-wise. There she trails by 6. Nikki working on the turkey. That better hook.
Well, we saw her move in last time on lane 34, and Nikki's also running into a little variety here of ball reactions. Get the ball skating in that oil a little too long. Doesn't make it back, but you hit the dry a little quick, and it hooks back too much.
Now leads by 3 with the 2-4-5 standing. Well, you can see the 3-pin had moved a little further away, and or I should say the 2-pin did, and boy, did not look good from the get-go. So an open in the 6th, her 3rd open here of the semifinal game.
We saw Lorrie chop the 2-5 earlier, exactly the same way as Nikki just took the 2-4 off the 5. Going to try to regroup and come back. I don't think Paula realizes how big of a frame that was there when she picked up that split.
Well, it's such a swing in emotions, too. If you're sitting on the bench, you figure, oh, I got her now, and all of a sudden they make it, and it turns things around, and Nikki G with a strike. A big strike in the 7th for her, trails by 9. As you see, the top 10 on the LPBT Tour earnings-wise here this season.
Just crunches the shot here, Denny. A lot of ball speed, just straight, direct at him, and it held the line. And coming back on lane 33, looking for the double. Now she left that big split, so she makes the adjustment, and the ball just skates a little too long.
Now she whiffs the 2-pin in disbelief, and this one has been back and forth, and neither player really in a position to win the game and move on to the championship. They're both kind of floundering right now.
I think Paula in disbelief, like you said, she's used to having to get the ball, almost pull it across the conditioner to go for the 2-pin, and here the ball hooked on her. Seems to me I did that earlier in a match this year, exactly the same type of way.
Well, she's in the 8th now, and she's working on a strike. Double would be big at this stage. Oh, my goodness, was that a solid shot.
And Nikki figures, if I'm going to chop a spare and you're going to give it back to me, I'm going to come back and answer with some decent shots.
In the background, 29-year-old Cheryl Daniels warming up and preparing for the championship game, trying to win back-to-back titles on the LPBT National Tour. You could see for a moment she thought, uh-oh, it's 4-9 or something like that, but she trips out the 4.
She sure did. When she tripped out this 4, I think she was very thankful because she saw it going, and then all of a sudden the ball just went left. Her break point is a little early.
Meanwhile, Paula has now figured out the right-hand lane, but the question is it too late? If she strikes out, it's 198, but she cannot close out Nikki Giunulias.
If she strikes out, we could work on some sort of a tie again, Denny.
We don't have time for a tie here yet. We've got another game to go. Of course, at the completion of this championship, Sports Center. Oh, boy. Well, 9 spare, not going to be enough. So best possible score now with a spare strike would be 178. And Nikki Giunulias is going to move on to the championship game after a struggle here in the semifinal. has been a funny kind of a game, Liana. Both players had opportunities to win, and you can see lamenting right there. Paula Drake realized that she had a golden opportunity, but as I mentioned, Sports Center, Bob Lee, Bill Patrick, coming up immediately following the Hammer Western Open. Big story of the evening, of course, the fact that the Pistons one more time have defeated Chicago 94-85. So Detroit now with the upper hand in that best-of-7 game series, and all the scores and highlights around Major League Baseball on Sports Center. 9 pins, 177, and Nikki Giunulias takes a look at the scoreboard and realizes she's in an easy position now to move on as the fans appreciative of Paula Drake's effort this week.
Mentioned the Pistons, Denny. Cheryl Daniels, hometown, Detroit, wanted me to let them know, go Pistons.
Mistress of Motown.
Cheryl, so.
She's going to be feeling a little better about them. Boy, Michael Jordan and company had them on the ropes there at 2-1, and then game 4 back in Chicago. But
she specifically mentioned Michael Jordan, too, and Cheryl, the single woman that she is.
Sure.
I'm sure she was going to mention.
No problem. I know Michael likes to play golf, but does he like to bowl?
Well, I'm sure she could teach him.
I wonder if you can dunk a bowling ball. He could.
He could. I was going to say, as little as I know about basketball, I think he could dunk.
Nikki Giunulias, who has yet to bowl for a title here in '89, will get her chance. She'll take on Cheryl Daniels here. Well, she's already accomplished a couple of things that she'd never done before. She beat Romeo and Lorrie Nichols thus far.
And her best finish so far this year was 3rd, and she has just bettered that. So
$2,000 and despair for your partner, Paula Drake. It's all right. You guys will win the doubles.
At least we're still partners. If she would have won here this evening.
State, and of course the Razorbacks of Arkansas. It all starts live at 5 p.m. on Friday night, and boy, it's going to be nonstop baseball and French Open tennis coming your way on ESPN. You're a big tennis buff, aren't you, Liana?
Oh, sure. I enjoy it.
All right.
Watching them play for all that money.
Yeah, and okay, here's what's happened thus far this evening. Giunulias, and one more time, Nikki G with a 199-177 win over Paula Drake, and we've now whittled it down to just 2 performers here in Yuma, Arizona.
Cheryl Daniels in this position one other time in her career in 1984. She was the top seed. She lost to Lisa Wagner in Webster, Texas.
Comes out, doesn't waste any time, and throws a solid strike. And boy, is she performing with a great deal of confidence.
A little trip 4-pin there has to help Cheryl breathe a sigh of relief, getting that first shot off after waiting in the wings for an hour and 15 minutes. Take a look at exactly how Nikki's been hitting lanes 33 and 34 thus far this evening. Hitting 34 much better, actually.
Oh, boy, was that a good shot.
Real good shot there after the commercial break, having to wait. Average on TV pair 243. Tonight's average 209.3. Nikki recently worked with Don Carter when we were in Florida. Worked a little bit on her timing. She said she was having some problems. He definitely straightened her out there. Worked with also John Jowdy in the past.
I think the biggest key there with Don Carter was the fact that she really was delaying getting the ball into the swing. She'd push it out, but she really wasn't getting into the swing. And obviously, if you delay when you start, you're going to delay when you finish. So getting the ball into the swing a little easier. And boy, it's obviously made a big difference for her. She's had a marvelous spring. Some velocity, kept it on line, and another 10-pin.
Well, knowing she has to keep her speed up, especially on lane 33, where we've seen it break left so many times. She did, and the result, the flat 10. A lot easier to pick up the 10-pin, however, than those big splits. 4-time Bowler's Journal and WIBC All-American.
Well, she looked down at the foul line as if she's stuck on the shot, but that ball was left from the get-go. So Cheryl Daniels, sitting on the bench, now leads by a dozen.
We mentioned her spare shooting a little bit earlier. Like I said, Nikki hooking into her 10 pins has a good chance of doing this more often than somebody trying to throw a little straighter at them.
Trying to double up and jump in quickly, and Cheryl Daniels with a very solid strike on lane 34.
After tripping the 4-pin in the first frame and then flush in the second frame, a 4-step approach starts the ball very low. Very powerful player. Very similar game really to Nikki. Look at that knee bend. Cheryl working out with weights, very into physical fitness, and it really shows.
Trying to expedite matters, and she does. Strike, strike, strike. And boy, she's got Giunulias right by the throat early in this one. She leads by 32.
And that's a big key, I think, for Cheryl Daniels. As I mentioned in the opening, if she comes out, gets the break early, which she did in the first frame, and Nikki leaving 2 10-pins and missing one in the second frame, it's just filling herself up with confidence.
Well, earlier this year, Romeo won them back-to-back. Cheryl Daniels trying to come up with a repeat performance. Nikki G doing anything but giving up, and this one goes through the nose, though, and boy, she's got some serious problems early on in this title match.
Cheryl not watching her opponent. In the past, we mentioned how Cheryl actually came out and lined up off of a few of the other players. When she was moving up the ladder, if she started to have a little problem, she'd see where they were playing. If they were striking, she would see what was happening. Well, here, she doesn't need to.
Gonna give it a run, and she went for it all and ended up with 7, and that's it. So for Nikki Giunulias, she is struggling here in the championship game. She's been climbing to the top of the mountain, but it's a little breezy up there.
Look at Cheryl Daniels' 300 rings. As you can see, she wears 3 of them on her left hand.
At the rate she's going, she might have another one before this one's all over.
Now, don't jinx her early, Denny. It's only the 4th frame for Cheryl. Nikki's ball breaking high again on lane 33.
Yeah, but I'm an optimist. Baby split for Nikki G, and this is like a dream for Cheryl. She's got an excellent shot, comes right out and goes pack, 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 and her opponent is struggling. And boy, you couldn't ask for any more if you're Cheryl Daniels.
We were talking a little earlier about Cheryl and how she was bowling even in qualifying and match play. She trying to put the ball between them. The ball slides into 10. Cheryl was just shaking off the bad shots, Danny, and in the past I think she let them really bother her, and she was just shaking them off and getting on with it and getting on with a good shot.
Well, it's 3 strikes in a row for Cheryl, 3 opens in a row for Nikki Giunulias. This one's really become a lopsided affair.
A good hit there. Ball coming in a little high. She leaves a 4-pin and a round of applause by the crowd.
Well, she averaged 226.4 this week, which is a lot of pins to knock down through 42 games.
And she won 17 matches, so she was very, very tough in match play.
Already this year winning twice. Went 9 years without a victory, and I think now that she's got the hang of it, she's enjoying herself.
You bet. An interesting note is we asked the players a lot of time the name of their coach. Well, Cheryl put the name of her mental coach, and it was David Rowe. So you know she's been working with her mind game and her mental attitude, because we've always known she had such a great physical game.
Well, she's going to have a lot of fun when she finally gets home to Detroit. She hasn't been home yet. She's won twice since she left, so.
And well on her way to that 3rd title.
Yeah, you bet. There'll be some celebrating going on Motor City before this one's all over. Another good shot, another excellent result. Right now, she's just throwing the ball about as good as she possibly could. She got the right ball, the right angle, and the right reaction.
Nikki trying to get something started here, even trailing by 55 pins. Stranger things have happened. Giving that ball plenty of room.
She's out there where most people fear to tread. I mean, that ball was a good 15 boards right by the time it started to make the turn.
I think that ball was out around the 8th board there before it came back to the left. She's setting the ball down at least around the 18th board.
Good chance for us to thank proprietor Jerry Thomas for a marvelous job here this week in Yuma at Inca Lanes, and of course their general manager Jim Grider, who just has done a sensational job, and of course the good folks from Faball Industries, Earl Widman, the chairman of the board, and John Wonders, the president of Faball Inc. Without their help, we wouldn't be here right now, and Nikki G wouldn't be throwing a strike on the left-hand lane.
Can't forget Dennis Baldwin.
Nope.
From my area of the country up in Baltimore. Dennis right behind Cheryl there, and the glasses and the beard.
And we might add, he has slimmed down considerably since the last time we saw him.
70 pounds. And he says that's what happens when you open up a new bowling center, Country Club Lanes, up there in Baltimore.
You're too busy running from one end to the other. Of course, they sponsor a ladies' tour stop. Oh, my. This is what's called locked in. Don't give them any room to breathe, and let's just head back to Detroit with 3 victories. You know, there's another thing we have to touch on with Cheryl, too. The all-time record for consecutive championship round appearance matches victories held by Cindy Coburn with 11, and this would be number 9 in a row for Cheryl Daniels.
Coming up both times to win her other 2 titles from that first match. Giving her 8 consecutive victories, and look at this. Oh, Denny, can you believe it?
When it's going well, everything falls into place, and there are the 3 gentlemen we just spoke of. Earl on the right, John in the center, and Dennis on the left. Look at this shot here.
Well, even though she has this match well under control, it's always nice to get a break like this.
That's not 1 break, that's 2 breaks.
And Cheryl's just thanking somebody up above.
I'll take a little of everything, she says. Well, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Nikki G just trying to get out of the way at this stage. Oh, boy, the solid 9, and it's just about all come down around her ears here this evening. She's left a solid 7, a solid 9, and she's running for the shelter house at this point.
An incredible shot there. That really shows you how much power that head pin just came flying off the wall. Like, once again, the ball's supposed to be taking out the 9. The head pin had a chance to do it, and it just toppled all over it. Really a little smirk there by Nikki, going, hey, you know, I threw it pretty good just to try to stay in this match and maybe give Cheryl a little run for her money, but it doesn't look like it was meant to be.
Daniels working on a possible 279, and that's normally good enough to win a championship game. Unless you're bowling in DeSoto, Texas in 1987, right?
That's correct. Then it wasn't good enough.
No. Right back at him. Let's cross over and go Brooklyn. So a strike in the 8th, which is better than nothing. That's what drives me crazy about this game. How can you throw a shot like that and end up with a Brooklyn? The frame before that, you throw it absolutely perfect and you leave the solid 9.
Wait a minute. Drives you crazy, Denny. You don't do this for a living. I'm the one that it drives crazy.
I thought you were going to say that's not a drive, that's a short putt, which is an old, well, never mind. We won't. Back to live action. Cheryl Daniels continues to pepper the pocket. It won't be 279 tonight, but it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood.
I don't think she's really concerned with the high game at this point, with a lead 66 pins over Nikki Giunulias.
Just in case you were wondering, her high career television game is 258, so she's in the neighborhood there.
Ooh.
She just moved.
Really slowed up on that
Relocated.
one, and I guess she figures, you know, hey.
Is it easy to lose your concentration, Leila, when you're breezing by 66 pins late in the match?
I think so. I think, you know, at that point she
Well,
pretty much moved in, just really let up on her speed. The intensity wasn't there, and just trying to get out of the way, I guess.
all she needs at this point is 14, or I should say 17 pins, right? No? As I look at Chris Zahn, who is keeping our score here frantically, we're trying to figure out what she needs, but we won't have to bother if this falls down. The best that Nikki Giunulias could shoot would be 203 if she would strike out. And so
Well,
she needs a spare somewhere along the way here.
somewhere in the next 2 frames or really good count.
Title number 3, and all you need is a spare in the 9th frame to get it done.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that's
I have
the
to
way to
win
do it.
title number 2
Right.
first, Denny.
We'll get you there. Don't worry about it. That's enough. All she's got to do now is stay behind the line in the 10th, which I'm sure she can probably manage. Boy, what a sensational spring for Cheryl Daniels.
Really unbelievable.
All right, is it too far-fetched to think that she has an outside chance at Bowler of the Year honors?
Well, no, you know, like I said, 13 events left. Robin having 4 titles, Cheryl having 3 titles. If Cheryl could capture the Samstown title, she
that's
would
right.
have a definite opportunity for that Bowler of the Year title.
Yeah, and where was that strike in the 7th, Nikki Giunulias is wondering. So she'll try and finish with 203.
It will be interesting to see how Cheryl comes back with it after a 2-month break here that we're taking, Denny. We start back up in August, and you know, if she starts out strong again, sometimes it's easy to get on a roll when you're bowling week after week after week. But this break, we'll have to see what happens.
Well, I think it's nice, though, that you get 9 in a row. If you do get it going, you know what I mean, as we say, then you got plenty of opportunities to build momentum.
I just got it going, though. I just finished 7th.
Yeah, but this is the last tournament of the segment.
I know.
Well, go back to Maryland, rest up a little bit. And,
I did better the first week out.
Yeah, you did.
So I made the show then.
What are your plans during the break? Got some time off?
Oh, I love summertime.
Yeah. You're
Marty
gonna
and
relax a
I'll
little.
probably head to the ocean, head to Seattle, visit my family a little bit. My folks were out this week and watching me bowl. It was wonderful. They haven't been to a tournament since we were in Tacoma in '86.
Yeah, I heard your mom said more Hail Marys than any person in the history of bowling the other night. Good shot there, and a strong finish for Nikki Giunulias. But yeah, you're right. It's nice to have the folks come out and watch you perform once in a while. Of course, you and I will be back September 6th. We'll be out in Las Vegas for the championship round finals of the Brunswick Gold Rush Mixed Doubles Shootout, beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, the first of 9 consecutive Wednesday night telecasts. Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour on ESPN.
And you're going to be
forget.
busy
Yeah,
all
I'm
summer.
gonna be, right.
The men's
Start
tour.
2 weeks for the PBA Tour, the seniors, Weber and Company out there in Las Vegas. Sports Center coming up as soon as we are done. Cheryl Daniels going to walk away with the Hammer Western Open title. We'll be right back.
Live on ESPN.
Well, 3 titles for Cheryl Daniels. She wins 226 to 200. John Wonders on her left with a $7,000 check, and Earl Whitman, the chairman of Faball Industries, on the right with a marvelous trophy. A big week, a big spring for Cheryl Daniels from Detroit, Michigan. So long, everyone.
The championship round finals of the $35,000 Hammer Western Open have been brought to you by Faball, home of hammer bowling balls and accessories, available at the finest pro shops everywhere. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. And by True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. And don't forget,
The following is a special presentation